Welcome to the Women in Fitness Business podcast, a podcast to help you attract incredible clients, make more money, and live the life of your dreams.
So today I welcome Jamie Hayes. He is a renowned expert in weight loss and fitness with a distinguished career dedicated to helping individuals achieve their health and wellness goals. He was actually Australia's first fitness leader of the year, and he's presented at FILEX many times, delivering technical practice business sessions as well. He and his wife have owned and operated 9 fitness businesses, plus they've created both franchise and a licensed business model across Australia and New Zealand. Most of their weight loss membership, sales and coaching is now done via Zoom, which is helping coaches develop remote clients anywhere in the country. As the founder of DietFlex, the weight loss coaching program, Jamie provides comprehensive systems, marketing, training, and resources for businesses and coaches to quickly launch effective weight loss programs in-center, face-to-face, and via Zoom without being dependent on nutrition qualifications. He's also known for his insightful eating tips for weight loss and his dedication to reducing tummy fat through practical dietary and fitness advice. Beyond his contributions to physical health, Jamie is a motivational business speaker and a passionate activist against frailty. Thank you so much for joining us, Jamie. It's such an honor to have you, one of my original mentors from 20 years ago.
Well, I think you've become one of my mentors.
Thank you. You've got so much knowledge to share. So let's dive on in, because I know you and I can talk a lot. So
Sure.
With such a distinguished career in weight loss and fitness, what initially inspired you to pursue this path and become Australia's first fitness leader?
Well, this may surprise you, and perhaps many of your listeners and readers and followers or clients. I was in the insurance business. I used to have boozy lunches and close the bars at night. I didn't particularly like my life. A friend invited me to go and attend one of these new fancy aerobics classes. And I was inspired by the female instructor and the positivity of the whole thing, girls and guys, in the class, and it was challenging. And we went to the Bellevue Hotel in Paddington in Sydney for a lemon squash afterwards. And I looked around the pub, and the women with their war paint on that I previously found attractive, compared to the women I saw in that fitness class, I no longer found attractive. It was a mind shift. And so rather than having boozy lunches, I started going to the gym during the day, like at lunchtime, and then I would go back at night. And I made such a nuisance of myself. They said the only way to shut this guy up is to stick him on the podium. And that changed everything.
And that was the turning point.
Yeah, it was a mind shift, really. Suddenly it was a wake-up call.
Yeah. Which
I said, I would rather be there than in the pub,
We always have those moments, don't we? Like that moment in time that totally changed the trajectory of life.
It does. Sliding doors.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you've had significant success with multiple fitness businesses and the creation of franchise and license models.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind just sharing some key strategies or principles that have contributed to your success in the industry and also to your longevity?
Firstly, I think it was it was a focus on, can you have a focus on 3 things? But getting the programming right so that we're really delivering good programming, be it strength programming on the gym floor or weight loss programming, making sure that the programming worked. And also, I was always committed to having expert programs that could be delivered by non-experts, because it's the only way a business owner can scale. And be it strength training or weight loss coaching or whatever, just having expert programs that can be scaled, which you can define, this is how we deliver the program. Then it's important to package up your membership so that you can create a long-term membership sale. Because if we think about the simple maths, if people only sell a 12-week membership and potentially people stop at the end of that 12-week membership, then they've got to replace them 4 times a year. That takes a lot of marketing and sales. And so being able to package it up for a long-term engagement makes sense. So having just good sales skill, but a sales process. And there's a difference between having sales skills and having a sales process that can be delivered by a non-sales person effectively. And then you've got to create marketing opportunities. So a business owner has to be spending time each week creating sales opportunities in marketing, however they do their marketing, locally, nationally, organic, paid, whatever, database marketing. And so if we look at the client journey, they see your marketing, they go through the sales, then if they sign up, they go through the programming. We always take a reverse so that we start with the program, make sure that's right, make sure we've got the sales process, then we can throw time and effort at marketing.
You mentioned like having a long-term member. I'm hearing lots of people at the moment are really focusing on getting people on the front end, and they're spending a lot of time and money on Facebook ads, which, as we know at the moment, is expensive. It's competitive. And one thing I'm a huge advocate of is referrals and getting clients results, being a member for long-term, not just short-term programs, so that they do stay, and really building up those referrals. Now, before you and I jumped on this podcast, we start off, pretty full on and go straight into the goal. We were talking about the foundations of business. Do you find that, there has been a little, in the industry in general, people are really focused on the front end of the marketing and trying to get people in, and that, may have actually lapsed the current client, and really focusing on what we know works through marketing is also referrals?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, our most profitable franchisee in our health inspirations business has the highest retention, the lowest attrition. And she has an absolute focus, not on marketing. I mean, she's fantastic at sales, but on recognition and rewards for her members and connection, so that they are just deeply embedded within the club. All the members know each other's names. They've got multiple events happening all the time, local charity events, ways they can participate, ways of rewarding members for 100 visits, 500 visits, 1,000 visits, achieving weight loss goals, all sorts of different things. And her profitability is absolutely double, all the others, because of a singular focus on that. And, she has a very high conversion rate when it comes to sales, and always sells, a longer term membership in the get-go in the beginning, because that does make a difference as well. But I absolutely agree with what you just said. However, it doesn't mean that a business shouldn't be always replenishing their sales opportunities, their lead flow, and they need to be disciplined about that.
Absolutely. There's a balance. There is that, the awareness of marketing, and yes, getting new people, but a big focus on looking after your current people.
Definitely.
In today's digital age, you've shifted a lot of your weight loss membership sales and coaching to Zoom. What really prompted that transition, and what advantages do you see in coaching clients remotely?
Well, it was really demand driven, and luckily it happened prior to COVID happening. It sort of literally, we flipped the switch and said, if we can coach people face to face, and our coaching is typically 15 minutes once a week, is there any reason we can't coach people via Zoom or phone or Messenger or whatever? But Zoom is ideal. And then we said, if we can coach people via Zoom, can we migrate our 4-step sales process to do that effectively and have a good conversion rate via Zoom as well? And so, and as you know, Health Inspirations was originally created by Casey Conrad, one of the leading sales and marketing experts in the fitness industry worldwide from America. And she had an 8-step sales process. The bulk of it is a 4-step process when you're face-to-face with somebody. And so we simply transition that into a Zoom-based sales process, so that somebody with a cold lead could sell a 12-month membership via Zoom. I mean, that's remarkable when you think about it. And also the scalability of, most fitness organizations, be it a studio or a big gym, are limited by people who live or travel or work near the center. But just imagine if they could have members that were anywhere in the country, even international, because ultimately, business owners, hopefully, every week when they reconcile their direct debit, they don't see where does that person live. They just need to grow that direct debit, and because that's the health of the business, the lifeblood of the business. So it really makes no difference whether the direct debit is coming from somebody who's coming to the center and working out versus somebody who's being coached from a different state.
It's a huge part, like since obviously a few years ago, like there was a huge pivot, and it's been a pleasure to actually be on your team because I see how you think, and you are definitely at the forefront of change and thinking outside the square, which is one of the many things that I admire about you. And you mentioned about that reoccurring income, like for a business sustainability, that reoccurring income without having the limitations of location is a huge thing for businesses.
Definitely. And then it made us COVID proof. So the coaches didn't have to come to the center. The members didn't have to come to the center. So it reduced our vulnerability. Is conversion rate in the center face-to-face slightly higher? Yes, it is. And so you've got to know your numbers. You really do have to know your numbers. But it really made us, every center scalable. It made coaches scalable. It meant they could work from home, and we weren't vulnerable to lockdowns. Not that I don't think the community is going to tolerate any more lockdowns.
No, I agree. Yes.
But it was a great opportunity, and it helped us refine the Zoom sales process and the Zoom coaching process.
As we also spoke at the start, this is just such an industry. It's not just fitness, like it's every industry. You just have to be on the forefront of change. There is those foundations which we talk about that is fundamental to a business's success, but at the same time, there's this element of being open to change, which is what.
Sure. And we find our weight loss coaches and salespeople have to be able to train their prospect in how to use Zoom.
Yes.
Not only do we have to be open to change, we have to sort of hold the hand of people, to change to new technologies, which opens up the world for them. Many of our new members are in their 60s and 70s. They might have a computer, but you need to be able to hold their hands and get them connected and things like that. And suddenly they can use Zoom and talk with their families and all that sort of stuff. So you deliver other benefits.
Change in their lives.
Yeah. What do they say about change? People will naturally resist change, but change is inevitable.
So as the founder of the DietFlex weight loss coaching program, can you just walk us through the key components of your program and how it differs from traditional weight loss approaches?
Okay, sure. So firstly, we've got a fundamental belief that one diet does not suit everybody. All right. And hence the reason we call it DietFlex, because one diet does not suit everybody, people need a flexible approach to develop the diet that works for their body. Hence, DietFlex, diet flexibility. Yeah. And so it is true that you can just give somebody a diet, like one diet, all our members just follow this one diet, whatever like that, and that may well work. But people do vary, particularly in their metabolic flexibility, and the focus of DietFlex and Health Inspirations is individual carbohydrate tolerance, that people vary. Just as if we held up our forearms together and looked at your skin and my skin and asked ourselves a question, if we went to the beach on the Gold Coast in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the day, looking at your skin and my skin, could one of us tolerate a few more minutes of sun than the other before getting sunburnt? And I always lose that. I've got a terrible, blotchy, pale skin. And equally, each person varies in their carbohydrate tolerance from all sources, healthy or not, above which they'll have difficulty losing weight because the hormone insulin is going to block weight loss. And because one of the conundrums of weight loss, if somebody's got, let's say, 10 kilos to lose, which is about 77,000 calories in stored energy, enough to walk from the Gold Coast to Melbourne and back perhaps without eating, why do they ever get hungry? The fact is they don't have access to the energy trapped in their fat cells. So by helping them discover their body's individual carbohydrate tolerance, we can help them lose weight without hunger, because hunger is the enemy of weight loss. And so we've developed a step-by-step process, the only one in Australia, where a coach with no nutritional background can help people discover their body's individual carb tolerance and what that represents in everyday foods they can get from any supermarket. And the net result is they lose weight steadily and without hunger. And that's the key. Plus, we combine that with not just handing out a diet or seeing them for 6 weeks, but with long-term behavior change and accountability by meeting with the coach for 15 minutes every week. And that just makes all the difference in the world. We've all seen members lose weight and then they drop out or whatever like that. And 6 months later or a year later, we see them in the shopping centre and they go to avoid us because they put all the weight back on. So, Kelly, you've heard the saying, it takes 21 days to make a habit. I don't think there's any data to support that. It takes a lot longer. I mean, we, a year ago, changed from a European car to a Japanese car, like from an Audi to a Subaru, that has the blinker on the other side. I'm still using the wrong blinker. It takes a long time to change that muscle memory and adapt to change. And so having a long-term coaching engagement, and with us it's 15 minutes once a week, just makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
But from an efficiency point of view, it means a coach can see 4 people per hour.
Yes. What I love about your programs and, worked within your centers is that it's everyday food for the whole family. It just makes it so much easier for someone to get sustainable weight loss that stays off forever. And that's what, we do need to shift in the industry. It's like, you just can't get the results and then expect to stop. Like, this is a lifestyle. And I learned a lot about that being in your center, and that carries on to this day. And so, yeah, the more that we can just educate people like, right, yes, we can get you results, because people come to you for results. And like you mentioned before, they stay for the community. And so by combining that, you do have these lifelong members, which again, what people want is that reoccurring revenue just to continue to build.
Can I add a nuance to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
If we think about what is the number one result, new exercise, particularly new female exercises, quote, the number one goal to start an exercise program, Kelly, what would you say it is? The most common goal?
To lose weight.
Correct. But does the science support that exercise causes weight loss? And it's not very good at causing weight loss. Now, sometimes people join a gym and lose weight, but I call it the fitness effect, because at the same time, they change their diet and improve their diet. If exercise by itself does not lead to weight loss, we've found an exciting thing is that the reverse is true. Weight loss leads to exercise. If you can help people who are not exercising lose weight, whether that involves exercise or not, they'll be more inclined to becoming exercisers. So it's a great source of leads, exercise leads, by attracting people who want to lose weight, who may not even be ready to exercise yet. But if you can help them lose weight, a number of things happen. Their power to weight ratio improves, so walking up and down stairs is easier. Their joint, inflammation typically goes down, so joints feel better. And their body confidence improves. They become inclined to exercise. Yeah. So for every person who joins a fitness club, there's probably half a dozen around them who want to lose weight but aren't considering going to a fitness club because they're carrying extra weight. So you can help them lose weight and let them exercise when they're ready. They might start with some super simple basic exercise, coming once a week, or very low impact, soft, slow Pilates class or whatever, that they may be willing to start that. Or we've had some people, because they're not price sensitive, at the time when they enroll in the weight loss program, they'll start personal training 2 or 3 times a week at the same time. So the saying is, exercise doesn't necessarily lead to weight loss, but weight loss definitely leads to exercise.
Yeah. And the amount of times, like over my duration and decades in this industry, how many times people have said to me, I was too afraid to come in, or how many times that they wanted to, but they were too afraid because of that confidence. Now, one thing that I always come up against as well with fitness professionals is the objection that, well, I don't have a nutrition qualification. I can't be prescribing, what to eat and when. You overcome that totally with your DietFlex program. Is that correct?
Sure. So we engaged a leading Australian accredited practice dietitian to help us create an expert system that could be delivered by an expert. So the coach is not prescribing a diet. That's already set up. The step-by-step process to help them discover their individual carb tolerance, that has already been set up. All the program materials and things like that, that's already been designed. All the coach is doing, and in our coach training, we train them first. Number one, how to set somebody up on the program, get them started. That's a 30 to 45-minute session. And then how to coach people on the program and hold them accountable and guide them through the program. So they do not have to become nutrition experts.
Which is brilliant. So that solves all of that.
Yeah. It's an expert program that can be delivered profitably by a non-expert.
Yeah. And it's great. Like I said before, having learnt your systems, it's just so easy to this day. I still, remember that, and I still follow that to this day, which is super cool.
And the strange irony, where we first met our dietitian when we had our fitness club in Sydney, called Rugby City, we decided, let's try weight loss and let's get an expert in, dietitian Jill McGregor. The clients paid her directly. They lost weight. We didn't make any money out of it. And when she left, the program fell over. It wasn't scalable. It was expert dependent.
Yeah, it was relying on her to do it. So now you've been able to scale that to help so many others, which is great. Now, your expertise is in reducing tummy fat, which is very widely recognized, and it's a huge thing, like when we look at people, what they're wanting to achieve. Do you mind just sharing some practical dietary and fitness advice that our listeners could learn to help their clients?
Okay, firstly, let's recognize you cannot spot reduce. But when you ask people, where do you want to lose weight? It's the most common. And it's typically a symptom of insulin resistance and here is something, you don't need a blood test for insulin resistance. If somebody's waistline, their circumference around their tummy is more than 50% of their height, and everybody who's watching this can get out a tape measure, I think I had one there, and measure that and divide their waist by their height. If it's over 50% or 55%, they've got insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, they just don't know it. And so by bringing down their insulin levels to help them lose weight all over their body, one of the areas most likely to go is their tummy. We see a shrinkage in their waistline. We're not targeting, it's not because we can't spot reduce, we know that, but it is a nice outcome when we bring down their hyperinsulinemia and get rid of insulin resistance. Typically, we see significant loss in their waistline, their tummy, and which makes them happy, of course. Trainers, I remember, I used to love being on the gym floor. People say, what exercise can I do to get rid of this at their tummy? And I would respond, are you mainly interested in strengthening the muscles underneath the fat or getting rid of the fat that's covering your muscles? They would always say, I want to get rid of the fat that's covering my muscles. And I said, that's all about your diet.
That is absolute gold right there. So much gold. I love it. Yeah. One of the many things I find inspiring about you is you're a huge advocate against frailty. What's your driving force behind this? Your social media is brilliant. I love seeing your updates on that. Like, what really drives you to maintain?
Well, the strange irony, even though I'm in the weight loss industry and I'm a weight loss provider to the fitness industry, and the focus is on weight and fat, but what goes under recognized is the loss of lean muscle tissue. And then particularly as people get older, that loss of lean muscle tissue affects not only their metabolic flexibility, but it also affects their body's defenses, and as they lose muscle, their vulnerability increases, particularly their vulnerability for falls. The statistics are pretty scary that I think a quarter of people over 65 who fall and break a hip are dead within a year. So it leads to death, and it's entirely preventable. If exercise science does what it says it can do, if you apply the principles, and with the combination of a protein-optimized diet and regular resistance training, whether that's effective resistance training, whether that's at home or in a center or with a personal trainer, whatever like that, people can significantly improve the quality of their life and their longevity. They live longer. So, but it's completely unrecognized, although it's becoming more recognized in medicine. We have the phrase muscle-based medicine, so that there are some leading advocates of that. So your strength and a grip strength or the ability to hang, is a good indicator. I think doctors, GPs, particularly for older people, 60 plus, should shake the hand, and that's a good indication of, is this person losing muscle mass? They should be referred to a personal trainer at the local studio, to do a resistance training program. Just having the protein in the diet, there is no medication. They need the stimulus. So to prevent falling over, my brother, who unfortunately passed away last year, he and his wife, they both passed away within 6 months. They were both frail. And the sad thing was, when both their daughters started having kids, they were too frail to ever babysit their kids. It was physically impossible. And I have grandkids, and I want to be around for them as long as possible, able to, fight with them, rumble with them, run along the beach with them, as long as humanly possible. And so I'm a firm believer in the power of regular resistance training. And here's a nice definition of a coach. A coach is somebody who gets you to do what you don't want to do to get the result you do want to get.
Yes.
Okay. So there really is, I'm very self-motivated to push myself, but most people need the benefit of a coach. I'm going to repeat it. A coach is somebody who gets you to do what you don't want to do to get the result you do want to get. So we should all be lifting weights or using body weight, doing calisthenics or whatever, in every opportunity we can to extend the quality of our lives. Just like brushing and flossing your teeth, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. And this is why we're educating that this is a lifestyle. Like, I see you on your socials with your grandkids. It's great. Like, we need more of this, and this is our role as fitness professionals to get this information out there. I remember, many moons ago, I had a 90-year-old start with me. Like, it was just so inspiring, absolutely brilliant to see. We just need more of that.
Well, my favorite client was my mother, who, after having fallen over and broken her wrist and that healed, she joined the gym at 76. We did a 30-minute single set, super slow resistance training program twice a week. Okay, 30 minutes twice a week. In 6 months, she doubled her strength on all exercises. Some she tripled, and leg strength, she quadrupled her strength.
Wow.
Did that improve the quality and longevity of her life? Absolutely. And she just followed the system. Now, we had a trainer, and when she could no longer drive, we paid for the trainer to go to home. And we said, well, that'll be expensive. We said, we'll pay whatever it costs.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Now, lowcarbdownunder.com.au, which is what you're involved in, has a massive subscriber base. What motivated you to be a part of this initiative, and how do you see it contributing to the broader conversation about healthy living?
Okay. Well, firstly, about 10 years ago, because we were always wanted to stay on the cutting edge, getting into the weight loss industry. So we started attending conferences in the States. And in a conference in the States, we met up with Dr. Rod Taylor, an anaesthetist from Melbourne. We both mutually agreed. I think it was his idea. He said it was my idea. Let's create a conference, a not-for-profit conference and like event organization in Australia. And we called it Low Carb Down Under, and started having major meetings, not just for doctors and dietitians and scientists, but for lay people as well, in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, whatever like that. And that just grew and grew and grew. Eventually, Elle and I stepped away. So Rod, to his absolute credit, runs it entirely and has continued to grow it. But it really has questioned the dietary dogma that's out there, of the food pyramid or plate and whatever like that, that gets people consuming way more cereals and grains than their bodies can tolerate. And it makes, weight loss difficult. And so that has grown, and there are other organizations in the States and in Europe and around, and it's formed subgroups of Australian doctors and GPs. And so it really has sort of grown organically. And it's put us in contact with leading lights and scientists and doctors in the dietary space, so that we can make sure that our health inspirations and DietFlex programs are at the cutting edge. So that's been really good. And it's helped us maintain intellectual honesty in everything we do. and it's been good for people. People have been able to dial in completely for free and find their solutions. But most people need a program, and they need the coach to guide them through the program to hold them accountable. So the access to information isn't the key. It's help with implementation. If you Google weight loss, you'll come up with 1.5 billion searches. So, and that's overwhelming. So that actually does us more harm than good. But what people need is not so much more information, but the implementation, the practical stuff and the accountability. And that's what a coach can do. In Australia, if somebody sees a dietitian covered by a healthcare system, they'll get 5 visits per year. That's if they haven't seen the physio and things like that. They might have seen the physio twice, so they can see the dietitian 3 covered by healthcare. We see them 52 times a year, more than 10 times. Big difference. And also we get paid on results. So our business grows on results. They get paid whether somebody gets a result or not. So we really wanted to we wanted to democratize weight loss so that it could be delivered by somebody who didn't do a 3-year degree. And also the world is full of educated derelicts. We know so many people who do certification in this and certification in that, and they've got their certification, they're an expert, but they've got no clients, they've got no means of attracting clients. They were never taught marketing and sales. And so they become a consultant or get a job doing something else, but they feel good having spent a year or 2 or 3 years and thousands of dollars getting their certification, but they've got no way, and they just don't know how to build a business.
Yeah. I was thinking this before I was creating some content. I was like, oh, thank God for my coach. Like, let's be honest, we're human. We have days where, you don't want to do stuff and you're like, no, I've got to do it. There's that accountability to it. And it just makes such a huge difference to results. Huge difference. And whether it be business, whether it be, fitness, it doesn't matter what it is.
You are credible because you just used the words, my coach. So you got your coach as well.
I do. Yes.
Well, that's very impressive, Kelly.
Thank you. Yeah. I wouldn't be without one, because that's what helps you, when you're in those moments of whether it be challenge. It's like, we can have our blinkers on, and to have that outsider perspective to go, I'll do this, to have that support is just invaluable.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with your extensive experience, you've likely encountered various challenges on that topic in the fitness industry over the years. You've seen many things come and go. Do you just want to share a particular challenging moment that you've faced and how you've overcome it?
Well, I think the most challenging event, we had 5 clubs in Sydney, and one did not have a lease in force. It was in a hotel in North Ryde. And I went into extensive negotiations with the new hotel owners. And they said, well, we want to just understand this fitness club business you got there. And they said, they made the decision, this looks like a good business. We want you to move out, so we'll run the business. And so I was screwed. And this business that was generating well over $100,000 a month, very profitable business, where people paid joining fees of up to $395 to join. And we had a waiting list at one stage. I had to move out, and if I didn't remove the equipment by the end of the week, they were going to assume it. And the most difficult moment in my life was having to call my 2 brothers and say, can you help me? Can you help me? I was speechless, in tears, and we had to move it out. But eventually, I actually did a deal with a club down the road owned by Justin Tamset, whom you know.
Yes, I do know.
It was a handshake deal, and he said, okay, I'll buy some equipment and I'll give you, I think, all your members, whatever they pay me for the next 3 months, I'll give that to you. We subsequently exchanged a letter, but he honoured every cent of that. And so it was the power of relationships. I missed one of the fundamentals of making sure I had security of tenure in that lease. So there was a big lesson, and there've been other lessons like that, and some incredibly painful, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Just on the fundamentals, what would you say are the fundamentals of a fitness business?
Firstly, you are a business. You've got fixed overheads and variable overheads, and you need to generate a profit, so a cash flow surplus. And that's typically from attracting, converting, and retaining clients and increasing client yield. So business owners should have a board meeting with their fellow directors, typically husband and wife, around the kitchen table at the end of the 15th of every month to look at their profit and loss and say, how are we doing? And look at the cash in their bank and say, how are we doing? And their business coach can be ex officio to that business meeting and come in and say, let's all look at the profit and loss together. So many businesses don't come in with a clear cash flow plan, because without that, they put everything at risk, and they're following their passions. They own a gym and they can do this fitness stuff and they can be really great at what they do and go broke.
Yeah.
So, they have to be serious, and we tend to focus on the things which we really, really like. I mean, I love being on the gym floor with the members, but really my biggest value adding was in marketing, making sure, the sales opportunities to meet our sales target. And our sales target does, of course, increase if retention decreases. So you have to build, as we spoke in the beginning. So it really is a case of managing, the basics.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I'm a huge advocate for is once a month, whenever that is really looking through the 6 key areas of your business and going through, because, we get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff that we're just, being reactive instead of proactive. And so things aren't getting changed before it's too late. And so, that
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a big advocate for having an org chart. And every fitness business has the same org chart. At the top of the org chart, you've got the shareholders, Bill and Betty. Then you've got reporting to Bill and Betty, the owners, is the manager. Let's say it's Betty. And then Betty has 4 key functions that she's got to manage: marketing, sales, operations, and finance.
Mm-hmm.
And typically her name is in all those boxes: marketing, sales, and finance. And each one of those functions can have key performance indicators. And as soon as you've got an org chart with those key performance indicators for marketing, sales, service delivery, and finance, then you can start training somebody else to fulfill those tasks and achieve those KPIs. You've got a training system. Eventually, you'll hopefully train somebody to become the manager, so you only own the business. You might still manage the marketing. At that stage, you've got a cash flow business that's easy to sell but nice to keep, and you're prepared to go and open a second center if you want to. Yeah. But if you go and open additional centers and your names are in all the boxes, you're going to create massive pain and put yourself at risk. I've done that.
Yes.
It's stupid.
Then the 6 key areas, I add mindset and team into those as well for those 6 areas, for the really looking at those to help improve the business, which is cool, which again, I learned off you.
Well, you are definitely one of a world leader in mindset. I've got my things on team, and one little recommendation: all business owners and managers are looking for good people, but equally good people are looking for good managers, good leaders. Okay, so it's in reverse. And I think there is, you have to differentiate between leadership, where we're going, and management, which is how to manage those functions. And a great book for management is one of my favorite is the 1 Minute Manager. So, because nobody went to school or university and learnt how to manage people. And in fact, you can't manage people, you can only manage their performance. And if you've got a system to manage their performance, life becomes a lot easier, and you recruit good, then people are attracted because you've got a training system. People can learn from you and you become a good leader.
It's in that reflection every month, isn't it? Just really taking that time. And actually, a hot tip from that is making the time, like schedule that time in, because if it doesn't get scheduled, as we know, it doesn't get done. So for coaches and businesses looking to launch effective weight loss programs, what advice do you have for them, especially in today's ever-evolving landscape?
Well, I would find a system. Of course, you can go and reinvent your own and take a year or 2 to do that. Fine. But does it generate a profit? So I would find a system, whether it's DietFlex or some other system. We've just got a system that is business orientated, that helps attract profitable clients and makes money, additional secondary revenue for the business, and that can be delivered by a non-expert. But it's a case of, do you want to have that additional source of revenue or a different additional focus? But if you want to deliver weight loss benefits to your clients, it's good to have a weight loss system. And I know we're good at charging for fitness, but you can also charge for weight loss coaching. Kelly, I assume your coach that you mentioned is not a charity. You have to pay your coach.
Correct. A lot.
Yeah, well, there you go. And we've learned the people who pay attention.
Yes.
They get better results. So there is nothing wrong. I mean, even personal trainers, one of the best sentences I think all personal trainers should learn when talking to a potentially new client is, Kelly, with all new clients, to really fast track their results in the beginning, particularly for the first 12 weeks, I suggest we train 2 or 3 times per week. Which one would suit you better? Rather than saying, I need to stop them spending money, so we'll only train for 30 minutes once a week. That's a nonsense. People aren't there to protect their money. They're there to get a result, and training with you 2 or 3 times per week may enhance the result. So don't be judgmental about, their money values. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite books on money mindset is people are not hardwired to own or accumulate money. They're actually hardwired to get rid of it down to their comfort level of what's left in their purse or their wallet or on their bank account or on their credit card or whatever like that. And when their easygoing greed emotion is triggered, they see something, I'd like that. They're thinking of the benefits. They're not thinking of how much money I've got left. So they're not hardwired to protect their money. They're hardwired to get a result that makes them feel better. There are some very strange individuals like Warren Buffett or whatever like that who might be hardwired to accumulate money, but most people are not.
Yeah. And when we look at increasing profits, like when you talking about, the yield for each client, this is a great way to do that, to really increase those profits. So you don't necessarily need to have more clients, just having people in the current club paying more money, which is a huge thing as well, which is going to help.
Well, we have one DietFlex coach that if a person's got a lot of weight to lose and really has had real struggles losing weight, she suggests meeting via Zoom 2 or 3 times a week. 3 times a week is $99 a week, so you can have high yield clients. I mean, when we fly in airlines, we've got first choice of first class, business class, or cattle class.
Yeah. And there's always people that do want those options to pay more for the premium service.
Absolutely. If you look at any car brand, they've always got a premium brand. Those cars are all restricted to the speed limit, but they're delivering another set of benefits.
Yep. And that's a mindset shift for the business owner, isn't it?
It is a mindset shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of weight loss and fitness and the fitness industry, and what role do you see yourself playing in shaping that future?
Well, definitely the world is getting fatter, and we have competitors like Ozempic drugs and things like that, and make through drugs that have their side effects, and so we're definitely driven to help people become healthier. To live longer, healthier lives. So that's our guiding mission, to help people do that through business owners. Currently, DietFlex, it's likely that within a month or 2, we'll start having our first coaches in the United States. We've definitely got coaches in New Zealand.
Good.
Oh, well, definitely. We've got a New Zealand coach who has clients in the United States.
Yeah.
And clients in Queensland, and they were operating from New Zealand.
That's great.
So, it just takes a little bit of program adjustment because they use ounces instead of grams and stuff like that. So we hope to, extend into the States, which would be great.
That is so exciting. As you know, I'm a huge advocate of you and Ellen and DietFlex. How can someone connect with you to learn more information about DietFlex and just see how much of a difference this can make to their business with their nutrition coaching and weight loss?
Sure. Just go to dietflex.com.au, dietflex.com.au, and click on the link, Become a Coach. And then, on that page, if you want to have a Zoom, have a chat or whatever like that, we can have a chat and look at your individual circumstance, whether you want to be a solo entrepreneur, do your own thing, either working from home or your center, or to run a team of coaches who can either coach from your center, from your studio, or from home. It's just amazing the income. If somebody coaches 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, that can add $700 to their income. That's $35,000 over a year. Because the first thing we say to a business owner or a potential coach is, please look at your personal diary. If there was a queue of people wanting to be coached by you, when in your diary could you put aside some hours? It might be 3 hours, it might be 5 hours, So that's good. That creates a goal. So we can multiply that by 4. That's a client goal. You can set your own fees, typically $29.95 or $34.95. That creates an income goal. So, but let's say it's just 3 hours per week. We say, let's go to work for 3 hours per week until you fill yourself up with clients for 3 hours a week. Then you might extend your goal to 6 hours a week. So let's spend another 3 hours in marketing, creating sales opportunity until you fill yourself with another 3 clients, 3 hours clients, doubling it from 700 a week to 1,400 a week or whatever. Or you might say, I don't want to do all that work. I'd rather have coaches do it. That's fine.
Well, I can personally vouch for what you do, Jamie. It's full of integrity, which is a big thing for me. And I definitely highly recommend, if that's an option for people, that they connect with you and jump on that, because it makes such a huge difference, not to the trainers' lives, but also to the people that they're helping. You and I could talk for days.
Kelly, we have fun together.
We so do.
I just recognize I have so much to learn from you.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I like I've always told you, I'm here because of also what I've learned from you as well. And so I always appreciate that and your wisdom. And every time we do catch up for coffee and
yeah. Well, I have learned that we as managers or leaders, we are nothing but stepping stones for other people to help them achieve their goals.
Yes, absolutely.
But I do say to them, whilst you're with us, step hard.
Yes. And this is the climate right now is asking that we step hard.
Definitely.
Go harder right now, because there's lots of stuff to be done. So thank you so much for joining us. They will connect with you with DietFlex. Is there any other places they can connect with you?
That's the best place. That is the best place. Just go to DietFlex, that one place, and happy to meet and have a chat anytime. So that's great. And Kelly, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Jamie. We'll talk to you soon.